Hello, welcome. In today's video, I'm going to be answering one of your questions. The question is, how often should I change my ukulele strings? And there's a second part to the question, how do I know when my instrument is ready for a string change? So if you have a question that you would like answered in this format, please pop it in the comments down below. I do read through everything, and if a question has a lot of likes, then I know that a lot of people have that same question. While I answer that question, I'm going to be changing the strings on my X1 tenor ukulele. This is one of my favorite ukuleles of all time. I'm going to be putting on the DR Moonbeams. These are some fluorocarbon strings that are said to hold better tune than nylon strings. This is my first time trying them out, so we'll see how that works. Okay, so you have two ways to kind of tell when the strings should be changed. You have a time marker, like you could change it every so often, or you have a few kind of signs that the strings are ready to be changed. So for the time marker, if you play your instrument quite a bit, then I recommend changing the strings 3 to 4 times a year. If you're more of a performer or professional, of course it's going to be more than that. But just for the average ukulele player that practices pretty often, 3 to 4 times a year is a really good kind of general place to be. Now, let's say that you have a ukulele that you don't play as often, then I would decrease that down to 1 to 2 times a year. For example, I have some ukes that I play every single day, and I have some that I don't really reach for as often, so it doesn't make sense for me to change the strings on that as often. Now, the clues that you should get, I guess, that tell you like, okay, it's probably around time for me to change the strings, is if the ukulele starts sounding dull, like it doesn't have that like really nice jingly voice that it had when you first got the ukulele. If the strings have indentation when you pass your fingers under between the strings and the fretboard, especially right around the first and second, third frets where we play a lot, if you feel like there's an indentation there, then it's definitely time to switch them. And if you had one of the strings pop, then it's a good time to just switch all of them, so that when you switch the strings, the whole ukulele will get a really nice new vibrant sound. If you only change the string that popped, then you kind of offset it, right? Like you offset when it's time to switch one string versus the other 3. So it's really nice to just switch all of them. If you have a low G ukulele and it has a wound string, then on the wound string you'll start noticing either little breaks or really like obvious changes in color, especially rusting. So once you start seeing that, then it's definitely time to switch strings. Just finished changing the strings on this ukulele. I'm really excited. I really like the sound of these. Let me tune real quick. Oh, these sound so pretty. So I'm going to play around more with them, and in future videos I'll use this ukulele so that you can hear them. By the way, this ukulele is the X1 in tenor size from Enya. It comes with a gig bag and a bunch of accessories, including replacement strings. I just really wanted to explore with different strings. And then I added this little inlay. I'll also add the link to this inlay. I think it costs like $8 for this. Like, it's a hummingbird and cherry blossom sticker, and it was really easy. Actually, it was really easy to put on, especially when you replace the strings, because you take everything off the fretboard and then you have the fretboard free. By the way, I wanted to share some tips. If you change the strings on the ukulele, keep the strings long just in case you make a mistake and you need to restring, because if you cut right away, then you have very little string to work with to make modifications with. A string winder helps a lot, because if not, you're turning a lot. My hands are actually red because I don't have a string winder, and now I regret not ordering one sooner. And then the other tip is to not tune right up to like G, C, E, A right away. Tune a little bit looser and test if the strings are ready to be stretched that far. Sometimes the ukulele needs a little bit more time. And it takes about a week for the strings to really settle in. If you play a lot, then that could be like 4 days, so less time for the strings to settle in. But look, I'm already out of tune. There we go. That's better. So I'm going to be playing with this a lot because I like the sound of this, and these strings are really nice. They're not they're not hard to play on. So yeah, if you have any other questions you'd like answered like this, comment them down below and I'll be reading through them and answering more questions. Thank you so much for submitting this one. I'll see you in the next one. Ciao!